Hey, welcome back. We're going to continue playing here, and it looks like we have blue and black on the docket with red and green ineligible. So here is our card, the Shades of Boudica. Yeah, this is the one where black sort of wants to do it. We'll see what they end up actually doing. They do get to go first. And then the next card is Omens. So you get to take this card and discard it during a field battle or assault initiated by someone else to have any units you choose. Oh, you get to cut their units in half. Or if you are eligible, discard it before a first eligible faction acts to become the first eligible. That is also very powerful. So all this means is, like in this situation, black goes first, and let's say I go second, and I really desperately wanted this event, I can discard this card to basically move in front of them. That's really what that means. That's a nice card. If black goes this turn, they won't be going next turn, and red is in line to be the one to get to take this. So that's not bad at all. So if you don't mind, I am going to continue using colors instead of trying to pronounce their names and butchering them all the time. Okay. So got the new camera. It zooms in a bit. It's nice in some ways, but it's not nice in the others. So black goes first. Let's look at their chart. Okay, we know they're not doing this. We know that they don't have an effective event. They do have a sword going through it, but it's not the shield. Okay, so are they first or second on the next one? Yes, but not with the shield. Okay. They're first, but it's with the sword again. And here I can show you. See, it's the sword, but not the shield. So, so the answer to this question is no. So we move down to here, and could they settle and add something? The answer is yes, because remember we did it last time. So let's go ahead and roll and see if that's what they do. Oh, and where did that? Okay, I rolled a 3. So a 3 is... We're moving past it. So now we go to Saxon Warband attack would remove an enemy. That's not true. Do they have 20 raiders available and 1d6 roll of 1 to 4? So let's roll. That is a 4. So the answer is yes. So they're going to raid. Okay, they're going to roll as many 3d4 as possible. And they want to go where there's enemy control and 2+ prosperity. Then within that constrainment, they want to go where there's no patrols, and they want to roll a 1d6. So they get to do 3. So I'm going to roll 3 dice here. 2, 4, and 4. So all of them are going to be the highest difference in population minus troops. None of them are going to be directly in the fence. But because the way this is playing out, with there being no patrol here, but there is a patrol there, in other games, I know this one's not playing this way, but in other games, the Saxons really do pillage down here quite a bit. It's just that this time around, because there's no patrols here in this ocean, they're very concentrated here. Now, I thought I read somewhere that they prefer to raid in locations that are near settlements that they already have. So in other words, their priority is to raid here and there. And let's see if I can verify this somewhere. Raid as many regions as able with Ravage or Surprise. Surprise may deep raid first region below. It doesn't say that anywhere, which is interesting because I thought for sure there was something to this. And maybe it's in the rulebook. Because remember I said the rulebook sort of elaborates on this? And maybe that's where I got that notion from. But I would swear to you that they want to raid near where they already have a presence. Because they get an advantage. Like if you look at the settle, see at or adjacent to returning raiders. You see this? So if they're at or adjacent to returning raiders, they're going to try to, do some more settlement there. I guess I'm wrong. I don't see it in the bot chart. So maybe it's in the rules somewhere and I missed it. I distinctly remember that being a mantra last time I played. I'm just looking at the non-player guideline summary. Oh, yeah, so I don't see it anywhere. Okay, so let's figure this out. They want to go where there's enemy control, where there's no patrol, and is it 2+ prosperity? Yes, 2+ prosperity. So that means this is out, because this only has 1 prosperity. So they want to go here. Remember, they're doing 3 locations. So this would be 1. This would be 1. And by the way, they're doing a command plus feat. So they're also going to be doing either a ravage or a surprise. So the ravage is where prosperity is greater than population, or if none at 1 enemy control space. Well, they can definitely do that. With a raid, it's only going to be if the Duke and or blue player victory is at -2 or better. And what's interesting is the Duke is actually winning. So they will ravage. And so which one are they going to ravage? Good question. So we'll have to randomly determine that. And that's what this gray marker's for. And we still have to determine the 3rd place that they're going to go. I know we said they can attack the same place twice. This one here is not going to be viable because after they take 2 plunder, there won't be 2 remaining. So that means this one is the only choice left. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, what about this one? That one doesn't have the 2 plunder. So that's why they're going to ignore that one. And then, of course, they're not going to raid their own spot. And then Parisi over here, Parisi, has no control. So they're trying to go where there's enemy control. Those will be the 2 places. And then where will they ravage? Well, ravage is going to allow them... Ravage allows them to plunder that exceeds population. There is no assault, though. And then after it's over, we're allowed to force the raiding Saxons to battle. Okay, so this one gets a little tricky. So which ones do the AI choose to ravage? We're going to have to go random, but I will tell you there's going to be no plunder left here to take, and over there will at least be 1 plunder left to take. So I guess you could argue that they're going to ravage that location for that reason. Or we can just randomly determine it, but I'm okay with that decision. I think that's a smarter decision for them. Also, when you ravage, there's no assault allowed. So I don't think they're going to be assaulting because there's a lot of troops there. Whereas here, we might be able to do an assault. Maybe, maybe not. But there's definitely less troops here. Okay? So, with that said, we got to pay the price for these. So it's 2 renown each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's do this one first. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And since there's no patrol, they're all going through, and that's 4, 6, and 1 is 7. Okay, so 7. Go here, 3, 6, and 1 is 7. Okay, so that is a lot, and of course they will take 2 plunder. I think the coin series, there would be an excellent opportunity for a pirate game. Maybe somebody thought of it, or maybe they haven't. But, you know, with the letter of marks and you got the 4 different countries. You got Britain, France, the Dutch, and Spain. Spain is trying to keep their Spanish galleons, so they're basically the the primary entity, and then you got the Dutch, who are probably the coin, the counterinsurgency. By the way, that's what coin stands for, is counterinsurgency. So counterinsurgency, actually that would be Spain would be the counterinsurgent, because they're trying to stop people from getting their galleons. And then you got France, Britain, and the Dutch all trying to get the galleons. And what you could have is like this non-player entity, the Indians and whatnot. So the French have a better relationship with the Indians. The British might have some nicer ports. And then you got the Dutch, who have less overall ports, but they get other advantages. I think there's some really cool possibilities there. And it would all be pirate themed. And so this would be the Caribbean as the map. Oh man, I think that would just be amazingly awesome. I don't know who I can talk to sit down and start designing something like that with, but I'm telling you, I got so many things going through my head. I could probably get that designed in lickety split. I mean, the coin concept is already designed for you. So as long as you're allowed to use the trademark and work with GMT, I mean, you just implement the same coin concept and you just make sure you have a 4-faction game just like this, and you make sure that the concepts are fun and playable. And I really think there's some potential there. Okay. What are we doing? That's right. They landed, and so now they're going to ravage, which means they don't assault. But it is going to be bad news for them because we're going to be able to attack. So let's roll for the ravage. And I rolled a 1, which is not going to succeed because I think for a ravage they needed a 3, 4, 5 or something like that. A 4 to 6. So the population remains safe. And then now we get to attack them. So you can see here that there's 7 of them. And if we do attack them, it will be a field battle. So they can either try to assault or ambush us, or they can try to evade. Okay, so what you do is you look here and it gives you the criteria. So for the raiders, if they're fighting alone with no ravage, they're going to evade. And then if they're with war bands, do as they do, whatever the war bands do. That's what it's trying to say. Or if it's with Saxons ravaging, they're going to try to ambush. Okay, so when they're ravaging, they're actually going to try to ambush, which is an interesting concept. So let's roll to see if they ambush. And I rolled a 4, which I think so there's a 4, and I get what am I? Sorry, I got a text. In full transparency, I got a text and I allowed myself to get distracted because I looked at it. So my apologies there. Okay, let's check. We got to check for, this is for the ambush. That's right. So for an ambush, they only ambush if it's a 5 or a 6. Oh my gosh, we got so lucky. Okay, now what would an ambush allow them to do? If you look at the battle sheet, see, the ambush is the same thing as a charge. So when our cavalry charge them, they will do damage simultaneously with the cavalry. And that could be really bad for us because we could lose some serious cavalry doing that. Now, with this situation, with us attacking, the cavalry are going to be able to kill 4 of them without them doing anything. So, so right off the bat, we're going to kill 1, 2, 3, 4 because they tried to ambush, they failed. Okay, so then we're just going along the steps here. There is no withdrawal. They have no stronghold to withdraw to. So they're charging and ambushing, and our cavalry just struck. So we have 2 cavalry. They each killed 2 units, so that's why I took away 4. But now we go to the melee step, and so everybody strikes. Now, if you'll notice, there is not, the raiders are not there. surviving raiders strike last, okay? Make sure you remember that. Everybody else strikes at the melee step, but the raiders don't strike until the end. So everybody gets to take a shot at them before they get a chance to fire back. Now, if they would have ambushed, then they would have been up here, right? And that would have been, you know, awesome sauce. So it's a really huge risk that they took there. And so, yeah, this is 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5, and then boom, everybody else is dead. So we killed everything. They did remove 2 prestige, which, yes, I remembered to reduce it. And but we're going to put 1 back because of the successful battle. So now everything goes up 1, and that goes off. And the cavalry were involved in a battle where they did not suffer any losses, and they won. So I'm going to move this up again by 1 point. Is it 1 point or 2? I think it's just 1. Yep, just 1. So then we're going to go over there and give them a prestige, and it goes up to 6. Okay. So that's it. That really backfired on them. And I sort of, so like if I were to choose the Ravage, I would have, see, it's really hard because there's no extra plunder to take here. Well, hold on a second. Does the Ravage, they would have taken more plunder with the Ravage. Let me go back to that. After plunder, yeah, they do. Plunder may exceed the population. So all the plunder would have been gone, all of it. They would have taken everything. So now there's only 1 there. Because once we killed them, we put 1 back. So I'm going to reduce everything by 1. Yeah, so that actually sort of paid off. I don't know, but it was a big price. All your raiders died. Raiders are really wimpy and weak. So, okay, now we're going to do this one. And we roll 3. And I got 3, 4, 5, and 1 is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 2 come on, like so. All right. Oh, let's not forget to do this. Okay. Will they attack? Chances are I'm going to retreat him to a fort and these 2 like that. So let's look at the chart. They have 6 of them. I don't think it's enough. So with the town and 2 units in the town, they would need 9. With the fort and 1 unit, they would need 7. So it's not enough. And I could have just as easily moved one of these over to the fort to make the fort stronger. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. But it's not enough. So they're not going to attack. So now we're going to do the next raid. And it's 2, 3, 4. It's not much at all. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, remember, you can't use raiders from another raid to help you in the battle. So it's not like I get to combine both of these and then attack. It doesn't work that way. But what I do get to do is take 2 more plunder, which is what the whole point of this is, right? So we went there and we took 2 plunder. And if they ever get to return, they really could try to settle. And I know they can't settle this particular location, but they can try to settle an adjacent one, which is over here, and there is an empty spot. So there's some options here. But anyways, before I forget, let's reduce this by 2. Okay. That is the black player's turn, so now it's the blue player. So does the blue player want to get Federati? This would be at Iceni or... Okay, so here's the interesting one. If I get Federati, I can put it here in Iceni, which is an area that we don't have control of, and we can try to take it back. That's an interesting idea. Or blue can just take its turn. And there's a lot of stuff for blue to do. So let's talk about that. Blue can muster, which I know we've done many times before. But see, we have 3 of the new Comitats, the new dark blue troops. They are very strong. We can get them onto the field. So we would do 1 militia per town and hill fort, and if British control 1 per population. So we can get all the militia out, no problem. And or pay 1 more wealth each to place the comitats instead, which are comitatis, however you pronounce it. I'm not going to try. That's the dark blue. So if we have a place where we would place, let's say, 3 militia, I could pay 3 wealth and then place the 3 dark blue units instead. And they're basically your stormtroopers, right? They're as strong as a warband or a cavalry. They just don't get the charge like cavalry do. So they're real soldiers. Now, bear in mind that once we do put them in play, we have to pay an upkeep of wealth at the end of every epoch. But that's after you do your victory check. So if you fail to do your victory check, who cares if you lose a few wealth there? Otherwise, you can replace 1 militia with a hill fort. This is another important thing, so we can get more hill forts into the game. Because remember, our hill forts are now a lot stronger, right? So we can try to get more hill forts into the game. That's always good. Or pay 2 more wealth to replace either 2 militia or 1 militia and a hill fort with a town. All of our towns are on the board, so that's not an issue. Okay, this is a wonderful action. I think we have plenty of money still. It is a lot less than when we started. Obviously, we can do a trade to get money, and then we could add prosperity back. Never a bad thing. We could march. And then the bigger thing is, what can we do over here? Well, one is rule, and this is where we spend more resources to get wealth. It's good. We need wealth. Don't get me wrong. We can invite more federati. So that's actually a way we can get them without using the event card. I think the event card gives you 3 war bands, whereas this, you would get 3 in a settlement. And there you're getting 3 in a settlement. Interesting. So it's not even that much better. I think it's just that, oh, we know what? We don't get a feat. If you look over here, if we do our action, we're only going to get a limited command. So we're either going to do a limited command, which means we can only do 1 space. Oh, no, I didn't even think about that. Or, actually, this is becoming more and more attractive. Let's just do the event. Let's look at this some more. I don't want to do battle. So if I did muster, it's an awesome idea, but see, it's an either or, right? We're either placing militia or we're replacing them with hill forts. So for example, I can spend 1 militia here to build a 2nd hill fort, so then I'd have 2 there. But a hill fort without armies to defend it is pretty weak. One thing I was considering is playing a militia here and getting a hill fort there to make this region a lot more powerful. That's actually really good because I would still have 2 units there to defend, and the hill fort does add some strength to the region. But remember, I can only do it in 1 place. If I had a full action, I can do as many spaces as I want as long as I have 2 resources. So that's where, you get a little weak. Now, the idea of the event is I would get to put 3 Saxon warbands here, 3 Saxon federati here. And then it says if there aren't any, also a settlement, which would help put another settlement here. But that's not true. There's already a settlement here. So I could get away with putting the federati down without having to put a settlement down. That's an interesting idea. Now, why would I want the 3 federati here? They actually have a lot of war bands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would not outnumber them, but I would start to cause pressure on them. And if I can maybe get some more troops there at some point or something else, I could actually possibly take it back. Now, how badly do I want to take it back? Well, it's 2 population. I mean, that's how we win the game. And we don't want to be losing our population. But I just realized what I need to do. I forgot that I set this up here. And we need the control so we can get the roads back. So we're going to go ahead and do a muster. And it's going to be 2 resources, so I'm going to go over here and spend the 2. I totally forgot about this, folks. I'm sorry. And so it's an either or. So if it's a valid site with more friendly than barbarian pieces, we can replace 1 militia with a hill fort, or pay 2 wealth to replace 2 militia or 1 militia and a hill fort with a town. Okay, so we're going to take one of these militia away, and it goes back into the available, and then we're going to put a hill fort in place there. And then what that allows us to do is we now just took control of a region right now without having to wait, and that gave us 2 points right now. So that was really good. We got 2 points, and the roads are restored, and we still have some troops to defend, and this is going to be a lot harder to take out next time. So I think it's a win-win-win all around. Okay, so sorry I took so long. The strategy in this game can be pretty intense. I think, don't mean to go into review mode here, but the thing about coin games is the bots, like I said, are a lot of work. Sometimes the text is too cryptic. I was just reading comments today about somebody complaining about the Revolutionary War one, how this text was really hard to follow. I tend to agree. I remember going on to Board Game Geek, and there was somebody having to translate for us what it meant. That's awful. It is very possible to destroy your game because you have awful cryptic text. But the one thing I applaud them for is, other than their cheating, although that's a big cheat, don't get me wrong, they cheat because they have unlimited commands. They actually do play the game against you, and they're not. So like a lot of the AI bots that I play against, I'm thinking of some games like Anachrony, and I know David Turchi, or however you pronounce his name, he explained that was his first one, and he would do it differently and better. I mean, I get all that, but it's just, hey, AI scores 3 points. They didn't actually do anything, they just scored 3 points. And oh, by the way, we're going to clog these 2 action spaces for you. It's cheap. It's cheap AI. So this is the real deal, and I do appreciate that. Okay, so these are becoming ineligible, and then this card's gone. All right, now one thing I forgot to do, when we had that epoch card, so you can count these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we've probably done at least 2 or 3 of these since the epoch ended. So that would subtract 2, that's 9. Remember, it was a 13 card, every pile was 12 cards plus the epoch card. So that's 13 cards. The epoch card was shuffled into the bottom 4. So that meant, 10 through 13 had a chance to be the epoch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, don't forget, there's 10, 11, and 12. Although I know this one wasn't in the epoch. So, anyways, you could figure out where it fell in that. So that means that the next pile of cards is going to be whatever was left over from the first pile, plus, the probability that it's in the bottom 4 of the second. So it is possible that if you get an epoch early, that the next one is going to be a lot longer in between, because now you got 3 of your 4 cards at the bottom of the deck to go through before you even start the next pile. I hope that made sense. Okay, so it's red and green. We got this Omens card, which it's pretty good. I think red is probably going to take it. But let's see what's on the next. The Irish Shore. This is one that red wants and green wants. So we can set Oceanus Hibernicus to patrolled. That is the Irish Shore over there. So we can get that one patrolled and start killing a lot more of their raiders. Ooh, that is so interesting. Or Scotty raids from Oceanus Hibernicus. They get 1 extra raider. Oh my gosh. So if I go with red this turn, Green for certain is going to pass so they can get this next turn. And this is until the end of the game, this thing. Oh my gosh. That makes this really tough. I was really going to go get this card so that way I can discard it before a first eligible faction acts to become first eligible yourself. And see, this only works if you're eligible. I can't do it from the ineligible box. Now, one thing with Irish raids, that's what I meant to say. That's what it is. I figured it out. I figured it out, folks. See where it says least subtraction of raiders? Per the rules, you can raid from the sea, but then you're subject to patrols. But since I have a settlement here, I can raid anywhere next to the settlement without patrols, because I'm basically raiding from the settlement. That's it. That's it. And so when it says least subtraction of raiders, that of course means you can raid where there's no patrol, which is what we've been doing. But it also means you can raid adjacent to this. So that means this location, this juicy spot, was actually available. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't point that out to you. This spot that's super juicy is available for raids. They would have definitely ravaged that one, right? So we'll get it right next time, I promise. So the reason I thought of this was because the Scotty over there gets to raid for free as well. So if we did put the patrol marker on, which would then cause them, of course, to start losing some points, they get to raid up there for free. Now, granted, it really restricts where they can raid to, but that is possible for them to just raid from that location. So what I'm trying to say is this event, is it good? Is it bad? It's decent. I think the part that's bad is if green gets it. And green is definitely going to pass to take it if I don't do something this turn. So red could pass, get 3 resources, and then red would have to take that event instead of this current one. Well, here's my thoughts. I think that while this card is a fantastic card, it's not a must-have card. So I can afford to pass on this one so I can steal the other one from green. So this round is going to be very short. I'm going to pass and take 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. And then we go to green, and you're going to see here, that's a no. This is a no. They are first or second on the upcoming card, yes. So they are going to pass. And so they're going to get 1. And the insanity of this is now we're going to have all 4 players eligible. And this card is now out, and red will go first. So let's see what the next one is. This is the Riches of the Monks. Oh my gosh. Wealth plus 10 for blue. That is a nice card for blue, I have to confess. And then each of the 2 regions with no Saxon or Scotty control, population -1. That is, that's very bad for us. Blue really wants that one, so that's going to work out, I think, quite nicely. So red's going first. We're going to take the event. Absolutely, we're taking the event. So we're going to set the Oceanus Hibernicus to patrolled, and we basically just screwed the Irish Scotty quite a bit. So we have 1 fort, 2 forts, 3 forts that are on that ocean. So we're going to be killing 3 raiders every time they raid, unless it's free from up there. And I guarantee you they're going to raid from up there every time now. But what that does for us is it means that province down there is now safe. And some of these provinces down here won't get raided as readily. It is a huge, like, we can concentrate our defenses in one place now. It's not as weak as I think I originally thought. Okay, so next is Green, who really wanted the event, didn't get it, but they can do a full command and feat, so let's figure out what they're going to do. So, there's nothing to return. They're not effective anymore. They're not first or second on the next one. Well, they are first, but not with that. There's no warbands that can do anything. Are all the warbands on the map? No. 25 plus Scotty Raiders off map. That is true. So let's roll. I rolled a 1. So that means they're raiding. Okay. And so they are going to go to Neil Nagalak as one of their raids. And remember, they could raid 4 places. So let's look at their raid criteria. They want to roll 2d4 raiders at least subtraction. Okay. And then we roll to see where they would go. If the raid's above or free for 0 renown, they will just do the 0 for 1d4 at least subtraction, and battle only where assault. Okay, so roll 2d4 raiders at least subtraction. Okay, so the only place that has least subtraction, first of all, the first raid is going there. The second raid would have to go there, and the third raid would go there, because that's least subtraction. And I think, well, we're supposed to roll dice, I guess. So let me roll. So a 4 and a 5. They would target up to rolled number of regions with 2d4. First, where Scotty already there or adjacent. Oh yeah, this is right here. It's where they're actually saying they want to raid adjacent to where they're already at. So that's actually what this is saying. And then target most 2 plus prosperity at enemy control, highest difference in population. Target up to rolled number of regions. What does that mean? Rolled number of regions. So why would I roll regions? Oh, that's what that roll is. So I rolled a 4. So I'm going to target up to rolled number of regions with 2d4. Oh, okay. So first, were Scotty already there or adjacent? 2 plus prosperity. So I wouldn't do this for each one. What I'm doing is I'm just rolling once, and I'm going to roll. So okay, my apologies. And enemy control. So I still have one more raid to do. And where on earth is it going to go? Are we going to raid the same place twice? I think we are. And so what I'm going to do is the priority is highest difference in population minus enemy troops with 2 plus prosperity. So that one doesn't have 2 plus prosperity. That one still will. And so there is no tiebreaker there. It's just we're going to go there twice. And they're rolling 2d4, which is interesting because usually they don't roll 2d4 because they don't like spending money. But because they're doing 2d4, it's going to cost 1 renown. 2. So they're doing 4 of them. So they're going to lose 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot. Okay, 2d4. Here's the first roll to Neil Nagalak. That's 6. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so those 6 will join whatever the next raid is in the future. And then we're going to go ahead and do this one. 5. And remember, we're not killing any because they're raiding from their settlement. So they're going to just take 1 plunder from that. And then the next one, 4. 3, 4. And they're taking 2. There's no way they're attacking, by the way. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. No way they're attacking. And then we're going to do this last one, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sorry if the camera's off. I'm actually not looking into the camera while I'm doing this. So I move those. Okay. So that's the raids. They're not going to assault anywhere. They don't have the strength. We can look it up real quick here. But so, for example, the hill fort with 5 raiders, they could kill it if it had 1 troop in it. And we have 3, so one of them would have 1 troop in it. But remember, the hill fort is now a with unshaded Camelot, count hill fort as fort. Okay, so now that we have Camelot, we have to count the hill fort as a fort. So instead of this being the number, it's actually now that. So they would need 7 to be able to kill a hill fort. So that Camelot card already made us a much more upgraded, so they're not able to assault the forts as easily, which is fantastic. It did knock the prestige way down. Look at that. The prosperity is way down, but it is what it is. Okay, so that was green taking their turn. Let me move the camera up a little bit more for you. So that's over, and this card is gone. And now we have this card, which we already said is Amazeballs for blue. So blue is very likely going to take the event. And then the next one, oh, green's going to like this. Naval Defense entrusted to Federati. Flip up to 2 patrolled. No patrol markers now. Oh my gosh. Raids from patrolled sea subtract for Federati settlements instead of forts. During upkeep, Duke only pay half resource per fort rounded up. So that does help them. But what this means now is even if you're patrolled, only Federati settlements kill raids. The red forts no longer count towards patrols. Oh my gosh. And green is going to definitely be able to take it. And look, it's their... This is where that card that lets you go first would have been really nice. But the thing is like, what I would want them to do is just make sure this never got played. Because it is nice to flip a no patrol to patrolled. That sounds fantastic, except the thing with the forts here is very devastating. Although it is nice to see that the cost is cheaper to maintain. Okay, so that's going to be a game changer for raids. Holy cow, we just thought we got a really nice card there. And that's how this game goes. I mean, these cards are, it's completely random which ones you get in what order. Like you can play a whole game and not get Camelot. And of course we got it. Okay, so blue, we know for a fact, is going to do the event. And the event is very simple. We're going to gain 10 wealth, which is huge amount of wealth. Do that in your best Trump voice. Huge. Okay, so it's all the way up to 25. Next is black, who gets to do a full command. So let's see what they want to do. Now here's what's interesting. Black is first or second on the next card, but green is very likely going to take it. So this is where the AI bot sort of falls apart a little, because you're going to see here, oh no, you know what? I bet we have 15 raiders on the map. let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We only have 10. So let's check to see if we have more than the plunder. That is 4 plunder, and we have exactly 4 plunder. I needed greater than 4. Oh my gosh, it's not quite enough. So we move here, and that is a no, negatory. And they are second on the upcoming card. What's crazy is green is first on the upcoming card. So, but per the bot, they're gonna pass. So they're not going here, they're passing, and they will get 1 point for that. And that's unfortunate, because that's something where I'm not sure they would do that. So it does say 8.6.3, so let's look that up real quick and make sure. Oh no, that's the March. It says if they're first or second, they pass now. There is no criteria checking to see whether green is also going to be taking that event. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Okay, so that round is over. We're moving up. They're ineligible. This card's gone. We already know this is going to be nasty. So let's flip this now. Neil's raid. It gets placed at 1C until the epoch. Reduce raids from there by -3 raiders from each space. It's interesting. The problem, of course, is they can now raid by land. And then the Scotty may raid from Oceanus Britannicus if they wanted to, which is, of course, the south. But you can see that they're not super excited about that prospect. Okay, so we know they're taking the event. I don't think there's, well, we can check. Let's just check. So they're not in clear. Are they in 15 plus raiders on the map? This is an interesting question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my gosh, there's 14. 14 raiders. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. That's not 15. So, but it says and or, so now we got to count the plunder. Well, they rolled high, so this is 6. So they would need 7 plunder. And you can see there they have 4. That's 5 because they have 1 there. But look at this, they have 2 plunder on the war bands. So that's 6, 7. That counts as plunder. So they actually have 7 plunder. So guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to do the event. They're actually going to return. Oh. So the fact that black passed is actually a good thing because now black's going to do it. Oh, no. Oh, this is so frustrating. Oh. So I guess there you go. There's your reason why you don't just assume green's going to do it. Green's going to do the command and feat. They're going to return, and then they're probably going to settle. It says if settle can place no peace, they're going to entreat. Entreat is bad because those hill forts can just automatically get taken. So let's figure out what they can or can't do. So if at or adjacent to returning raiders, roll 1d6 for each such raider. So we're going to settle 1 space. So if it's, oh, that's another reason why you want to raid adjacent spaces, because you can actually count returning raiders that are adjacent to you. So if it's at or adjacent to returning raiders, we'll roll 1d6 for each such raider. Then if desired, you can place warbands, etc. Okay. Well, here's the thing. There is a fort and a town there, and then there's 2 hill forts there. They can't settle because there's nowhere to actually... Well, no, they can. This is interesting. They could settle this empty space here. That's an interesting concept. So, they want to settle at most Scotty Raiders in or adjacent. Well, that's going to satisfy that. It's in the hills. It's a vacant site. So, or Scotty settlement. That's all true. Place settlement only if 1+ Scotty warband would remain. That would be true. Otherwise, they would entreat. And the reason why... So, like the retreat, if they're in a hills region with a Scotty warband... Oh, they're not. Never mind. They can't... I was thinking they could entreat with raiders. I apologize. They couldn't... I thought for sure they could take one of these for free. But none of these are warbands. You see what I mean? Okay. All right. So they're going to return and then settle in Noviche or whatever, and Novante, and they're going to be even more powerful than they ever were. But let's do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, we're up to 22. Then we have 4, 9, I think we already counted this. This was 14. So they had 14 of them. So let's roll some 1d6s. And remember, they're only a 5 or a 6 is going to count. So 14. There's 1, 2. Boy, this is dangerous, right? Look at a 6 and a 4. I mean, if you're just a little bit off there, you can really mistake that. So this is actually 2. 4, and that was 8. This is 12, and none of there, and then 2 more for 14, and none there. So I think the number was 4. So we're going to get 4 warbands. 1, 2, 3, 4 in that space. And then, of course, they're going to pay 3 renown to place 1 Scotty warband. Per Scotty settlement, plus if Scotty control 1 warband per population, or replace 2 with a settlement. So which one is their priority? Place settlement only if 1+ Scotty warband would remain. If no 3, pay to place warbands. Okay, we can definitely place the settlement. So we're going to do that. So they're going to place the second settlement, and it costs 2 of these. Now, do they have to pay money to do that? Pay 3 or replace 2. Yeah, there's nothing they have to pay. That's it. They're done with their turn. And yes, black is going to go next. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to activate that event. And boo-hoo. So this event is now activated. I'm going to go ahead and place it over here next to the other one. And what this means now is that the forts for red no longer kill raiders. Only Federati forts settlements do. And right now there's 0 of those on the board. And then 2 patrolled markers get flipped right now, which is already bad. And then number 3, the red forts are going to at least be half maintenance. Because I guess since they're no longer patrolling the sea, we don't have to pay as much in maintenance to keep them. What this means is they're basically going to be able to raid us as often as they like. So I don't know why I don't necessarily need to put this on, but I'll do it anyways. So I don't just think it's a straggler card. So they get to flip 2. I guess you could randomly choose them, but this is the weakest one, if you haven't figured that out. These 2 are the ones they want to unflip, and those are very powerful. And we are no longer constraining the raiders like we originally thought. So that blows massive chunks. And of course red didn't get to go, so they both go here, we're back to there, and we move on to the next turn. I'm at 55 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stop and switch back to the other camera, I think. And anyways, thanks for watching. Stay awesome.